So today we got a question from Jen and side tangent that has nothing to do with the video. You can always tell when I'm doing the videos after training because my hair turns into this giant puffball. Anyway, today's question comes from Jen, and Jen is struggling to retain information. That's a pretty common one, but she feels like, she's done other martial arts before, but for some reason with jiu-jitsu, she's just not able to retain the information very well, and she feels like it's starting to get to her. She says that she's not a quitter. She's done other stuff before, and she's not dumb. She's a nurse, but for whatever reason with jiu-jitsu, she's really struggling to retain the information. And this is obviously getting worse because of the fact that during the lockdown and the COVID stuff, she's not able to train as much. Right now, she says that she's able to train with her coach and do private lessons. And then with her husband, he doesn't like to drill. He just wants to roll. And she says that's kind of a problem because she feels like drilling is how she, learns things because of repetition. But again, she doesn't have any drilling partners. And so she sent me a message asking for some tips. And so Jen, I'm going to tell you how to drill without having a drilling partner. If you have to follow me on this one, but I'm going to tell you the way to get more repetitions without having a drilling partner. And for any of you guys watching this right now, if you want to drill more, you want to get more repetitions in, but you don't have anyone to drill with regularly, if you have a rolling partner, that's fine too. I'll tell you how to do it. So first off, repetition is really important, right? We understand this. I mean, in jiu-jitsu, it wires it into our nervous systems, but you can even think about repetition of jingles that you hear on TV. They get wired into your brain to the point where you can't forget them. I can think about all these stupid jingles from stuff on TV that I heard back when I was a kid, and I still remember them to this day, right? I can still sing the theme songs of songs that I used to hear back when I was a kid. So repetition is really important if we want to get it to the point where we don't have to think about it, right? We're pushing something, these motor patterns, these movement patterns into automaticity. We don't want to think about them. We want it to be almost instinctual. Well, an idea that you can implement that might be useful to you comes from, I was listening to an interview, and I do this myself, but again, it's a great example of it. One of my friends, Bernardo Faria, one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in my opinion of all time, he's one of the greats, and he was one of the guys that I looked up to a lot when I was coming up. Bernardo was in an interview recently with Gianni Grippo on his podcast, and he was talking about the fact that when he was training at the highest level, ambulance. By the way, guys, I can say ambulance. I just say ambulance because I think it's funny. So someone got mad at me. There's like, you don't know how to say ambulance. You're such an idiot. Keyboards. Anyway, but Bernardo said that when he was training at the top level, like world level jiu-jitsu, he said that he tried multiple different ways, right? He said he tried doing weight training in jiu-jitsu, just pure rolling in jiu-jitsu, wrestling in jiu-jitsu, all this different stuff. And he said that he tried doing a lot of drilling and then doing jiu-jitsu. And he said that for him, he tried it because he saw a lot of people that he respected doing it, but for him, the juice wasn't worth a squeeze. He just felt like he wasn't getting much from it. So what he did was instead he would do weight training, wrestling, and then when he would do jiu-jitsu, he would focus on specific techniques when he would roll instead of just doing whatever. And his the person that was interviewing at the time said the same thing because they actually rolled together up at Marcelo's gym in New York. And he said, yeah, the first time we rolled, you hit me with this move 7 times, the same move over and over again. And so that's a really good idea. And that's something that I implement, in my own self when I train with some of my guys, because, sometimes if I'm rolling with, like, let's say a blue belt or a white belt, whom I can beat pretty easily, I can get more from that roll by doing the same move over and over again. And even when I roll with some of the black belts in here, if I'm really trying to get better with a particular technique, I'm going to do this one technique over and over and over again, or at least one position over and over again. So I get more repetitions in that position, I get more familiarity in that position, and I get to sort of just get comfortable with it, right? More time in position. It's super important. And if any of you guys are interested, I have an ebook that I give away on my website associated with my daily emails. You can check that down below. But the reason I bring that up is because in that ebook, I make this sort of distinction about this where there's passive drilling where you're just doing repetitions, but there's also this idea of live drilling or active drilling. And for me, in high school, like wrestling, we used to do live drilling where, it might be, I'm going to take you down and you're going to try to defend, or I'm going to have a single leg and you're going to do this. And we would have these particular tasks that would work very specific situations. And so I do a lot of that stuff. And so here's a couple ideas for you, Jen, that you can implement. One is you can simply roll with your husband, roll with your coach, whomever you can get a hold to roll with them, and then just simply try to do whatever position or technique you're trying to focus on, and focus on one technique for like a month or longer at a time instead of jumping around from thing to thing, right? Maybe one position. The other thing that you could do is, if your husband's cool with it, you guys could have like situational rolling. So for instance, let's say if you wanted to work on your guard passing, you could say, all right, so your husband starts on the bottom, you're on top, you're gonna try to break and pass his guard. If he sweeps you or if you pass his guard, reset, do it again, and do it again and do it again. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna give you more time in the position, you'll get more familiar, and again, that's going to assist you in driving that information deep into your nervous system, deep into the sort of the instinctual sort of ability that you have, instead of having to think about it and like remember it, right? It'll just become instinct. It'll become intuition and instinct. So that's the idea for you that I think would be really useful, is doing that active drilling, and when you're rolling, focusing on one thing over and over again, and going back to your private lessons with your coach, ask him to do the same stuff over and over again. Like every time you do that private lesson, be like, show me the same thing you just showed me last time, or at least add on to it so this way you can expand. And just one little last thing to throw in for you, Jen, is that then when you're out of the gym, because I know you're not able to train as much as you would like, when you're outside of the gym, simply try to absorb as much information, or excuse me, play with the information as many ways as possible. Take notes, watch videos of those techniques that you're doing. Maybe your coach will let you record the videos of him showing you the techniques, whatever it is, and try to play with that information as many ways as possible, and try to sort of create that repetition, even though you can't do it on the mats all the time. So a few ideas for you, Jen. I hope those are useful. And again, if you guys have questions about that ebook that I was talking about, the difference between active and passive drilling, I'm getting ready to get rid of that ebook because I'm going to give away something else to be associated with the emails. So if you want it now, check the links below. You can get it. But if not, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.